Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Don't Touch My Music podcast with me, Kiana, and my co host, Chardonnay.
Hi.
So today's Thursday. So today's a Thursday episode where we
Yes.
have um, a little more of a chill, fun time.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much um, educational as much as just us sharing things that we like in music.
Right. Right.
And for today, we decided we're going to share with you our favorite albums. We each
Mm-hmm.
picked three, and we're going to talk about them. Mine aren't ranked just because mine change frequently.
Mm. Mm.
So these are just like my top three as of now. They're all
No,
from different
yeah.
years, but
Yeah. No, mine's as well. I have only I think two that is in a similar year, but other than that, yeah, it's way back. Way back, but I mean, you
no,
know.
you have some
Yeah.
throwbacks in yours for
Yeah.
sure.
Um, but I think I'm gonna start off with mine first. I'm gonna kind of save the best two for last.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna start off with the first album that I like.
Right.
Was Queen by Nicki Minaj. Um, that was actually released in, so first of all, you guys know it's a hip hop album. But she mixed the genre a bit with like some trap music and like some dancehall music and like some reggae music. Because you know Nikki is all about the Caribbean vibe. She's all about
Mm-hmm.
the Jamaican vibes. Because for the past couple of months, Nicki has been like on a rampage, like following Jamaican artists, Jamaican dancers, and so forth. And like all of them in Jamaica are like, oh my God, Nicki Minaj followed me, whatever, whatever. So I think like she's getting into that trend now of like actually following these Jamaican artists or Jamaican musicians, dancers, or whatever. Because maybe she has like a little special project coming with them or whatever the case is.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, I like Queen from Nicki Minaj. It's a hip hop album with a mixture of trap, dancehall, reggae, and so forth. And it was actually released in, let me see, it was August 10th, 2018. It was released, and it was just a different type of vibe from
What she
music.
normally releases.
Yes, from music that she normally makes, because the last I guess sort of album that she released was in 2014. But yeah, this album was completely different to stuff that she usually makes. And I pretty much enjoyed it. I was vibing with a few
Mm-hmm.
songs. Let's see. I was vibing with the number one song on the
The
track
lead,
list.
the lead
Yeah,
single.
the
Mm-hmm.
lead single. Was that the lead single? No, I don't believe that was the lead single.
It
The lead
probably
single,
wasn't.
I believe, was, let me see. I'm looking at the list here. The lead single was actually Chung Lee. You remember Chung Lee from
Mm,
Nicki Minaj? Yeah. The lead single, I believe, was actually
I
Chung
just
Lee.
swallowed in the mic. My bad. I'm
the
drinking tea.
the lead single was actually Chung Lee. That is still my favorite song.
That song is
Um,
so fun.
yes, it's so fun. And
So fun.
you know what is crazy? I was doing some research because, like we
Mm-hmm.
said, we're gonna bring facts.
Yes.
But I was doing some research and I realized that of course she writes all her songs. She writes
Mm-hmm.
all of them. Of course there are other persons that assist or whatever the case may be, but she writes all of her songs. And but this one specifically, Chung
Mm-hmm.
Lee, she was actually a part of the production, so like making the beat. All the
Okay.
Yeah, so all the other beats on the album she was not a part of, if I'm correct. She was not a part of, because I didn't see her name there. But
Mm-hmm.
specifically Chung Lee, I saw her name a part of the production. I'm like, Nikki, so you do beats now. You in the
Nikki
production
said she
stuff,
dipping her toes in
you
the
know?
things.
And I was like, okay, most likely she dipped her toes in it because
Mm-hmm.
I guess she wanted to like curate a sound
Yeah.
around her vocals, or even just create that sound and then put some vocals on it and then tweak it along the way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so my favorite is Chung Lee, which was the lead single, and then moving on to Barbie Dreams.
Okay.
That
Yes.
was cool.
Yeah.
And then let me see the list. Good Form, I had like Good Form.
Good
um
form was a
yes,
gem.
it was a jam. And I think she featured, I think Lil Wayne was a feature on Good Form, and then she also had the Claremont twins in the
Mm-hmm.
video of Good
Mm-hmm.
Form, like posing like as statues. I think that was so cool.
Yeah, it was.
And then Coco Chanel. Coco Chanel is sort of like a dance hall kind of vibe ish. It's not fully, but it's like
Mm,
a mixture.
yeah.
And Foxy Brown is a part of that feature as well. So I think those are my favorites so far. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that was just it. Because
You know what I
this one, go
sorry,
ahead.
I interrupted you. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
You know what I just remembered?
Well,
When Queen came out
mm-hmm.
was the day that I met your mom and your grandma. And you guys came
Really?
to yeah, you guys came to Harlem so that we could have
Uh-huh.
lunch together and like walk around the city. It
Yeah.
was the same day that the album came out. I just remembered that, which is
Oh,
like a random ass memory. It just came back to me
yeah.
like, oh
But
shit.
you,
Because I remember asking you when you got off the train. I was like, did you hear Nicki's new album? And you hadn't heard
oh,
it yet.
girl,
And
I
and,
don't even
and I was
remember.
discussing, yeah, I was discussing like a random song on there. I do not remember what song it was now.
Mm,
But I said that there was one song that I really liked, but now I don't remember which one it is.
yeah.
But yeah, just random memory there
Yeah,
attached
yeah,
to
yeah,
a
yeah.
random
No, but
album.
those are the songs that I like. There isn't anything big about this album to say like, oh, I could ramble on about it because
Mm-hmm.
it was just like a body of work that she did that was completely different from what she normally does, and I guess she
Yeah.
was experimenting along the way. So it was just cool to listen to, just a vibe.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my the first album I started with. So
Nice.
yeah. And what's your
My one that I wrote
first?
down,
Yeah.
the one that I wrote down first.
Yeah.
um, so if you're watching the YouTube, I'm looking down because I wrote on a piece of paper
Yeah.
in marker.
Yeah.
There's a computer in front of me, but I chose to use the
Yeah.
paper. So I chose Trench
Okay.
by 21 Pilots.
Mm.
21 Pilots is I'm gonna say alternative band made up of two people,
Yeah.
lead singer and the drummer, who is Josh. Lead singer is Tyler, and they've always had like a very different sound, which I've
Mm.
always been like attracted to. Like I've always liked it. I've always felt moved by it because it was seemingly quite random. Like when you listen to it, you're just like, oh, I didn't really expect this from them, which I like
Yeah.
because every album I don't really know what they're gonna do. Um, and this album wasn't any different. I couldn't have expected anything that was that was on this
Mm.
album,
Mhm.
and it was
Mhm.
sick. So Trench was released on the 5th of October in 2018, and it's
Okay.
a concept album. I really like concept albums because it's just there's
Yes. Yeah.
everything in there,
Yeah.
from costume design to the choice of like the music videos to how the marketing rolls out
So.
to then the stage production and the stage design,
Mm.
everything. And like 21 Pilots is very big on making sure that concepts are solid and like
Mhm.
every single part is thought through.
Yeah.
um so it's a 14 track album with a crazy concept that like I honestly to this day still haven't fully processed because it actually requires like such a deep dive.
Yeah.
But anyway, it takes place in a metaphorical city called
Mm.
Dima.
Mhm.
And the protagonist of the whole story is the lead singer, Tyler.
Mhm.
But the city is surrounded by like a valley that is called Trench. And basically, the
Okay.
album is the lead singer trying to escape from Dima. And then Dima is controlled by like 9 bishops who are kind of like dictators. So it's a really suppressed, oppressive, conservative ass like
Right. Right.
little situation going on in there, and he's trying to escape. But the whole thing is really metaphorical for mental health and like all of that stuff. And one of the reasons why I picked it was that it was the first time that they had self-produced. So everything was recorded in the lead singer's home studio, and it was the first time that they had done that. He did everything himself with a co-producer from a band called Mute Math, which I'm also very fond of.
Okay.
But yeah, man, it's just like a really crazy listening experience. And as I said, because they round off their concepts really well, I went to the concert for this album cycle, and literally everything was so thought out the whole time. I was just like, this is insane, actually. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
This is crazy. I can't believe they've done all of this. And
Right.
my mom came with me, and I was just like, YOLO, I'm gonna take my mom.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't really know 21 Pilots like that, but I took her, and after the show, she was like, that was crazy. And I was like, it was, right? And it wasn't even my first 21 Pilots concert.
Yeah.
It was my second one, but I was still
Yeah.
like, that's crazy, because the first one was also crazy. Like, but also it was the marketing
Mm-hmm.
rollout for the album that really got me like into the whole thing. And I was just like, okay, okay, this is very well thought out, because I
Yeah.
was telling you briefly the other day how people found out that they were starting to roll out a new album
Mm-hmm.
was because they happened to be on their website,
Sorry. Right.
and they saw a little URL on like a GIF on the merchandise page
Mm-hmm.
of their website, and they followed
Mm-hmm.
the URL, and it took them to like this really obscure website that came out of nowhere very clearly. Um, and it started the rollout of the whole story of Trench and all the stuff, and it was like a treasure hunt, and I was like, I don't have time for that, but the fan base does. So I was just
Yeah.
reading the whole thing on Reddit. I
She
was just
said,
like,
"I'm waiting."
yeah, I was just like, all right, they just do their own thing, like, and I like
Yeah.
that. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not easy to be in the music industry making music that isn't necessarily mainstream
Yeah.
and still continuing to do your own shit.
The second album that I liked, of course, is by Rihanna. Okay,
Riri.
these are my top two. So the next two albums that I'm gonna talk about now is my top two. First,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna start off with Rihanna, Talk That Talk. Listen, if
Mm-hmm.
you know Talk That Talk by Rihanna, I know, right? You know that this is a good pick. First of all, the song itself, Talk That Talk, is just badass overall. But Talk That Talk is actually a hip hop, R&B, kind of electro reggae. Rihanna said, I'm throwing all the genres
Yeah.
into this album. One thing that I love about Rihanna is the fact that she mixes all genres within her albums. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
she does like pop, electro, R&B, hip hop, reggae, like all in one body of work, and she makes it work. Not very much artists can do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they can put like R&B, hip hop, pop, and whatever in a body of work, but it's like what some people would literally be like, "What are you doing? Like this sounds like a mess. It sounds like all over the place." But Rihanna's team, like the persons that does her production, knows her well, like knows her vocals, knows like her style of music, and they do a great job. I'm not gonna lie, they
Mm-hmm.
do such a great job. And when Rihanna started out, she didn't start out with one genre, and I think that's why she can do this. She
Yeah.
started off with like a reggae, and then she moved into like pop, and then she moved into like R&B. Like she literally dabbled in everything. Like even when she released the album Loud, that was like
Mm-hmm.
almost like full kind of techno electro kind of vibes,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And you know what's so crazy? When I was reading, I saw that Talk That Talk was actually released in 2011 in November,
Mm-hmm.
but it was released on the 18th of November in Europe and the 21st of November in the US.
Mm. That happens
And
sometimes.
I
I
said,
don't know why, but it
I
happens
I
sometimes.
I I think I know why. So why I believe that they do this is just like my little theory, um, based on what I've seen, but I have to do a bit more research into it. But I believe that artists that are mainly like from the US or in the US market, kind of like test their music with Europe. So before like they fully release then their music in the US, I feel like they would just kind of like test the waters with Europe to see like how the persons in Europe react to the music before they fully like release it in the US. Because when
Mm.
they go on tour, they go on tour in Europe first, and
Mm-hmm.
then they go on tour in US. And I believe this is just another thing of me. I believe that they make more money in Europe than the US. I just
Shirley
saying.
said, I just have a feeling.
I just you
Well,
know
we can look into it.
we can look into it. That's just what I feel. Because I mean, like euros to dollars.
Yeah.
Mm, so
Also, concert tickets are cheaper in Europe than they are in the US.
Mm. Oh,
Um,
oh, that's true too. And so back to Talk That Talk album was released in 2011. Um, in November, the 18th of November, Europe, the 21st of November, in the US. And actually, all of the songs are my favorite songs. Like, there is not one song on the album that I do not like. It's a album that consists of 11 songs. And my favorite songs on the I all of them are my favorite, but like my most favorite, like I would listen to like all the time, is actually You the One. You know, You the One from Rihanna.
oh yeah,
You the
yeah,
one, na 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 na
yeah.
na. Okay, mm-hmm.
I think
That
about that
one,
song often, actually.
listen, that song, right?
Yeah.
That song brings back so much memories. And what I
Yes.
love about that song is that I think this album itself, what I love about it is that she infused a lot of her Caribbean flavor into it. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that that's what I like. Where Have You Been as well? That was just a major
Yes.
hit.
That
We
was
Found Love was
iconic.
also just like a major hit.
Iconic.
Like this album was just like full of the hits. Like
Mm-hmm.
Talk That Talk itself with Jay-Z was like a hit.
Mm-hmm.
Cockiness, Birthday Cake,
Mm-hmm.
with Chris Brown. We All Want Love, Drunk on Love, Rock Me Out, Watch and Learn, Farewell. Like the whole album is just amazing. Like that was such a great body of work. Apart from Loud, because I believe
Mm-hmm.
Loud, the album that she did was great as well. But
Yeah, it was
this
good.
one was like, oh my God, this one was really, oh my God. And what's so funny as well is that the song that she did with Chris Brown on this album, Birthday Cake, was only released in the US. Now, I don't know why.
It was probably a promo thing.
No, but this album is just awesome. Like there is there is not much of a backstory behind it.
Mm-hmm.
But what I really love the marketing aspect of it is that while doing this album, she did like a hometown tour. So
Mm.
she went back to Barbados. She spent time with family. She spent time with her late grandmother who passed away from cancer. She now has a foundation for her that is
Mm.
dedicated, in that is a foundation that is in the grandma's name, where she kind of like donates and help like with cancer and so forth. Um, but no, she like with this album, she did like a hometown kind of tour. She went back to Barbados, visited family and friends, and she just like visited her aunts and uncles and so forth. And she visited their stores because they have like a few stores over there. Like she was just in her element. Just I think it was a humbling moment
Mm-hmm.
for her, like
Mm-hmm.
just going back home, being with her family, being with her loved ones. What I was saying is that I think that this was a humbling moment for her, just being back home, being with family, being with friends, just being back in Barbados. I don't remember. I'm not sure what studio album was this, like what number it is. But no, this album was just the shit. Like, listen to
Yeah.
it, guys. Listen to it again and again and again and again. Because obviously she's not gonna release any more music like right now. So, but
Might as well revisit. I was
yeah,
just
like
thinking as you were talking, I was thinking like I actually haven't listened to that whole album in
yeah.
a while.
Wild. I need
It's
to.
been
I
a
need to.
minute.
I need to go back and listen to it because that song is just like it's humbling. I know why I said it's humbling because you could hear it in the song. Like you could hear it like the way that she sings, the lyrics, and like when you look at the kind of because it's like a mini documentary she did
Mm-hmm.
on uh YouTube. I was gonna say Instagram. It's like it's a mini documentary she did on YouTube, and she shows the entire process, like when she visits her family, she visits her mom, she
Mm.
visits her grandma, and then like in the background, like some of the songs of the album, are playing. So I'm like, okay, like I get it, I get the vibe, I understand it. It's dope, it's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely need to revisit that album. It's been such
Yeah.
a long time. I'm like, I've been
I need
doing
to
that a lot
revisit.
lately as well. It's like revisiting old albums
I think
that,
I should as well.
yeah, that like were were released when I was like a teenager and stuff.
Hmm.
I did it with Craig David most recently. This is Craig David's first album. I don't understand. I don't understand. He was in his bag so early on in his career. That shit is crazy to me. But anyway, I'm going to reiterate once again that I didn't write this in any specific order.
Yeah.
Um, but this should come as no surprise to anybody who knows me in real life that the album that I'm going to talk about now is by BTS.
Mm.
It should come as no surprise to anybody ever. But anyway, so the second album I chose is B by BTS.
Mhm.
Fifth studio album was released in November of 2020. November
Why
20th
are why
of
are these
2020.
artists releasing music and why back no what year 21
2020.
2020? I noticed a lot of artists release albums like in November. I'm asking myself if anyone releases like an album in like January. How
Yes.
did you ever see you saw who which
Yeah.
artist release an album like in
Yeah.
January or even February or March or whatever like in the
We
beginning
had
middle.
March Stromae released this month.
Oh yes, yeah.
And then last month Kanye, or was that this month also? Kanye released new music
Oh, I
this
don't
year.
know.
And then in February, I'm trying to remember now, there was a release, but I can't remember who it was. But January, like people don't do January and December as much because that's Christmas
No.
music time,
Right.
and
Yeah.
Mariah Carey's busy
Mariah
dominating the
takes
charts.
over.
So
Listen,
yeah,
December belongs to Mariah. I'm
yeah. So
sorry.
people avoid
Y'all might get mad
those
with me, but
months.
Mariah is the December song queen. Like, I don't know how
Yeah.
to put it.
No, it
Like,
is. It is. Everybody knows it.
listen,
When charting Billboard in December, it's all Christmas music.
it's all
So
Christmas music.
people avoid that shit,
Yeah.
and I understand it. I understand it. Avoid
But
it.
I was asking myself, like, this song like was made like years ago.
Mm-hmm. She
Years ago.
re-released
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I know she re-released it and of course like did like more like better mixing and mastering or whatever. But I'm like, this song, like I know she's making money. Like
Mm. Mm-hmm.
that one song alone.
That's the paycheck that never fails. Those December
Listen.
royalties must be good.
Ooh. Oh. Oh. But
But yeah.
anyway, continue with your album.
Yeah, so as I was saying, B by BTS
Yeah.
released November 20th, 2020, their fifth studio album. I have a lot of feelings about it. I
Mm.
have a lot of feelings about it, and there's a lot of things that made it my one of my current favorites. I have like another two of their albums that are in my favorites, but I chose to speak about this one specifically
Yeah.
because their approach to it was so different from what they usually do.
Was this the album that you were telling me about? Like they did all the concept stuff that
Yes,
you were
exactly.
showing me that you ordered and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
like their approach to this was like super different, but also it was an album that was never really supposed to happen because they were supposed to
Mm.
be on tour.
Okay.
But the pandemic obviously happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody was on tour. And they had time on their hands. I got ahead of myself. I got too excited. So
Mm.
I'm gonna backtrack. The album has
Okay.
she said rewind. She got
She
ahead of
said.
herself.
She said,
I
"Let's
have
go back a little bit. Let's
yeah,
go back a
guys,
little bit."
I have a lot of feelings. I have a lot of feelings about BTS. I get too excited. Please relax. First of all, to me, I'm saying that. But anyway,
It's
the album has 8 tracks.
okay.
One of the 8 was Dynamite, which like was hugely successful.
Mm-hmm.
But all other tracks are Korean.
Okay.
Like I feel like I shouldn't need to introduce them, but if you don't already know who BTS is, they are a South Korean septet who are immensely talented.
You think people don't know who BTS is? They are like so huge, right?
You would be surprised how willingly ignorant people want to be when it comes to people from other cultures.
So that's it. Well, that you have a point
Especially
there.
when it
Yeah.
comes to music.
Yeah.
So basically, as I said, the album really wasn't supposed to happen.
Mm.
And obviously the circumstances in which it happened were really unfortunate, but I appreciate the fact that it did happen. I'm grateful that it did happen because it was an opportunity for them to explore their creativity to like the fullest
Right.
extent.
Right.
Um, which really reflected in the album, like as a result of them really being able to just take over the whole thing and try this for the first time because, you know, they were in a situation where it allowed for that.
Mm.
They created one of their most, I think, sincere and genuine albums that really reflected what they were feeling throughout the pandemic, what everybody was feeling, and
Yeah.
there was a lot of stuff going down, and
Mm-hmm.
it was scary for everybody. And in doing that, they were also able to give like this message of hope as well,
Yeah.
which um, is how I categorize the album. When I listen to it, it's just like a very big source of comfort because
Mm.
lyrically, don't be lazy. Look up the fucking lyrics, translations. It's right there. Oh my god. But lyrically, it's, you know, it's hard hitting, it's beautiful, it's soft, it's sad, it's hopeful, it's happy. Like it's a lot of stuff um that is just like just, you know what? Let me
She's like, you know what? I need it.
overwhelmed.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No, no,
Overwhelmed.
but
So
it really be like that sometimes, like with music. Like for me, like when I listen to a specific song or an album,
mhm.
um, with me, I don't think the lyrics mean something to me, but it's like the tone or the
Mhm.
melody of the song that strikes like an emotional nerve in my mind or in my brain or
Mhm.
whatever. Like I don't know how they do that. I'd be like, how y'all do that? Like how y'all
Yeah.
know that this would trigger my brain? Like how you know? Not my laptop dying.
Hello. Get the charger.
It's right here.
As we were also saying, uh, they being the members of BTS had a very hands-on approach to the album, and that doesn't go to say that they don't normally have a hands-on approach. Like they all have writing credits across their discography. They, when I say they're talented, I'm not fucking kidding. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying this for shits and giggles or whatever. I mean, they are immensely talented individuals who
Yeah.
take their music so seriously, like this is not a game for anybody involved, um, and I fuck with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they had a hands-on approach. They each had like a role in the whole process. So you know, ultimately they were all project managers, but within
That's
the
great.
roles of project
Yeah.
managers, they had their own little individual things. So
Good.
some of them did like styling, some of them did
Mm.
like the design, the graphics,
Mm-hmm.
like behind the whole packaging. um, One of them was the A&R, so was the
Mm.
communication point between
Yeah.
the group and the company and what they
Company.
wanted. You know, they worked together to brainstorm what kind of sound they wanted to go for. They all contributed music out of their personal, like, little libraries of stuff that they were working
Yeah.
on. Um, and so, you know, they have credits all over this shit, and
Yeah. Wow.
it's cool to see because not only do you hear it manifesting in the music, but in the physical album itself, there's just like pieces of each of them in there, and it's so personalized and cool as fuck. And sick. I just turn over a leaf of paper, a sheet of
Yeah.
paper.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to see if I said everything that I was gonna say.
Okay.
Oh, even like even shit like the music video.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that also that was them doing the things.
Mm.
Having fun and
My my favorite songs of BTS is I like Fire from
jam,
BTS. Yes, but my ultimate favorite is it Blood, Sweat and Tears? Or Blood and Sweat? What
jam.
is it called? It's
Yeah, it's
Blood, Sweat
blood,
and
sweat, and
Tears?
tears. Yeah,
That is my song. Listen,
jam, jam,
that's it. That right there is my song.
jam,
Like the way that they sing that, the music video, I'm like, y'all
jam.
killed it. Y'all killed this.
The whole concept, the
Listen,
whole everything.
the whole concept, the production, the styling, like it was. Listen,
They
they're
they did what
awesome.
needed to be done
Yeah, they did what needed to be done.
with that track.
They're awesome.
Um, the rollout of the album
Mm, hmm,
was
hmm.
also very different to how they usually do stuff. Again,
Yeah. Okay.
because they chose how it was going to happen. Um, which again doesn't mean that they don't get to choose other things.
True.
It just
Right.
means that
Right.
they had a
Right.
very specific thing in mind when it came
Mm.
for this album. So like, if I can make a comparison, when they release previous albums, they kind of release a little calendar or a release map. So you know exactly what's going to drop on what day.
What they? Yeah.
That didn't happen for this album. They were just like dropping stuff, and we never knew
Wow.
what it was going to be either. So it was
How?
also fun and exciting, and it
Yeah.
was
Definitely.
a lot of involvement. And also
Mm-hmm.
they kind of invited us to see part of the process.
Mm.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so they released either live streams on YouTube or just videos would drop where we can see them kind of deciding on the sound of the album. We can see them in the studio. We can see them deciding how they're gonna style, what they're gonna um, what's gonna go inside the album, like physical album, and all of that shit, which is sick because you don't get to see that very often
No.
these
No.
days.
Mm-mm.
Not many people invite you for that kind of behind the scenes look at their
Yeah.
album making process.
But it's so crazy, not to cut you off. It's so
Mm-hmm.
crazy because Rihanna also did this with Talk That Talk just a
Mm-hmm.
bit. She didn't went like in extreme detail, but she had like a part of her going back home kind of documentary scene. She also showed that when she fly back to New York, because I think at that time she was living in New York. She also showed that when she fly back from Barbados to New York, like she went straight into like hair, makeup to
Mm-hmm.
like do some photo shoots for the album. And it's like she took the shoot, like let's say for instance on Monday, and like already on Friday, like the whole thing was printed on the CD cover and everything, like was just ready. I'm like, wow. You
Yeah.
know, she even had like her own personalized clothing, like with her name in it and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I'm like, y'all be working fast.
Yeah.
Y'all be working
It's
fast. Yeah,
really an
yeah, yeah.
intense whole process. Like you've got to
But
have a good
listen,
ass team behind you.
so that was your second one that you talked
Mm-hmm.
about BTS. So for me, my final one is Captured by Spice. So
We love Spice over
we
here
love
at
Spice over here.
Don't Touch My Music podcast.
Listen, yes, we do. We
Chardonnay
do.
introduced me to Spice. Actually, I was not familiar with her
Yeah.
before me and Chardonnay became besties.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, Spice is a real deal. Like Spice. So for those of you who don't know who Spice is, Spice is a Jamaican dancehall artist who's also known as the Queen of Dancehall. She's also a cast member on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta in the US.
Mm-hmm.
And Spice released a sort of a mixtape because it's not an album, and I'm gonna tell you why she labeled it as a mixtape instead of an album. A mixtape called Captured. Of course, it's the genre is dancehall. It was released in 2018 on the 2nd of November, and it actually has 19 songs.
Ooh,
Spice said, I'm
that's a
working.
juicy
She said,
album.
I'm working. So it actually has 19 songs. And the story behind it was that she was signed to a record label. I'm not going to say the record label's name,
Mm-hmm.
but
Fuck that
she,
label.
I mean, she's on good terms with them now, but I'm still just not going to say their name.
Fuck that
Um,
label.
so she has been signed to this specific record label for many years, and they have not really produced an album. She recorded
Mm-hmm.
music, but it was just sitting there for years. Like since 2014,
Jeez.
the label has not released anything from her specifically.
They
So
basically had her shelved.
they literally shoved her, like the stuff in the background there, like that was her. Literally, like the listen, which
Fuck that label.
she was just sitting nice on the shelf. But you know what's so funny? She was sitting on a shelf. The label had her on a shelf, but she wasn't stop work. She did not stop working. All songs that she made, she decided to create songs and put them on her own. Use her own
Mm-hmm.
money and put them on her own. The
Mm-hmm.
downside of it was that the label still owned it because she signed a contract, like with copyright and
Yeah.
blah blah blah.
Masters and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a conversation for another day.
But yeah. but she was still working behind the scenes. While the label had her on the shelf, she was making music nonstop. She was
Mm-hmm.
making music videos nonstop, and she was
Mm-hmm.
touring, performing all over the world nonstop. And she even came out to say that she makes money from her performances.
Mm-hmm.
The
That's
most money,
where most
yeah,
musicians make the
yeah,
most
yeah.
income.
She mostly makes money from her performances because she was like the label was not helping her with nothing. Like nothing, Kiki, nothing. And she named this mixtape Captured because she said that she felt captured. She felt that she was just captured and just like trapped for many years without being able to release a proper album. She's like, I'm the queen of dance hall. I have hits upon hits upon hits. I have such a large fan base all over the world. Why is this label not granting
Mm-hmm.
me or releasing an album? She was like, I have many songs that I've recorded that is just sitting there in the studio and not being released. Why? So she decided to make this mixtape, and one of the songs in the mixtape is also called Captured, where she talks about feeling captured and feeling trapped and feeling like they used her, and she continued to feel used because it's like, you know that I want an album, you know that I
Mm-hmm.
need an album because of my fan base, but yet you're still not making the effort. But you're seeing me putting in the work, you're seeing me working, you're seeing me doing music videos, you're seeing me traveling, touring, whatever, and you're still not, kind of giving me that extra push.
Yeah.
So that basically was the kind of story behind that song. And then another song on the album, which is the number one song, is Black Hypocrisy.
Mm-hmm.
This this song, Black Hypocrisy, talked about colorism. So yeah, so my favorite songs on this mixtape is Black Hypocrisy, Genie, a song named Genie, a song named Under Fire, a song named Romantic Mood.
Oh, I remember Romantic Mood.
Yes, romantic mood slapped, and that's about it. Those are the songs, and this song actually peaked at number one on
Mm-hmm.
Billboard for top reggae albums.
Okay,
Yeah, this
Spice.
song was number one. I can't remember for how much weeks, but it peaked at number one on the reggae charts on Billboard. And usually Bob Marley is number one, but she
Mm-hmm.
was number one for that time. And she was
Yeah.
like, "This is such an accomplishment because Bob Marley is like Bob Marley's been number one on the reggae um
Mm-hmm.
charts for
Mm-hmm.
years, and
Mm-hmm.
even though like he's passed away so long, like he's been number one, and like just she tells herself like me, like oh little Spice, like just made it number one. Because guys, if you hear her story, like it's so amazing. Like it's really inspiring. She came from nothing. Like she literally said like she came from not having food to eat, not having, money to go to school. She literally went to school and came home and met her house like burnt down, flat on the ground. And she was like, all she had was the shoes on her feet and the clothes that she was wearing and the bag on her back. She literally had nothing. And like today, like to see where she's at today, like her album 10 that she released, I believe it was last year, uh, is actually nominated for a Grammy. Like
Yes.
that's just
I
crazy.
remember
Like
when I sent you that message.
yes, and like I freaked out because I'm like, what? Like she really did it. Like I
Yeah.
don't care if she wins or not. Like it's the fact that she was
She was
nominated. Like
nominated. It's a
right, like
really
she
big
was,
deal.
yeah, like she was recognized. You know what I mean? And she has like I think two businesses, if I'm not
Mm-hmm.
mistaken. Maybe she has multiple, but the two that I know of is Grass Noir, which is her clothing line, and Faces and Laces, which is her makeup and wig line. And I know that she owns multiple homes in the US and in Jamaica. Like she is just a whole success story. Like she
Yeah.
is just so inspiring. But no, the main story behind that mixtape slash kind of album Captured
Was the
was the fact
situation
that,
with the label.
yeah, was the fact that she was just on the shelf with this label, not being able to make music. And she just felt like captured, she just felt trapped. And along with that, she kind of drive like controversy with
Mm-hmm.
it because she did not like bleach
She
her
didn't actually
skin.
bleach her
She
skin.
didn't
Yeah.
actually bleach her skin, but she painted her skin white because persons would tell her that she's too black to make it as an artist.
Mm-hmm.
Persons would tell her that she's too dark to be
Mm.
successful, or that she is yes, it's either she's too black to make it as an artist, or she's just too dark to be successful. And they were like, oh, she often says, like, they would say, Spice, you know, if you were a little like lighter, or if you were a little browner, you know, you would make it far. And she's like, okay. So she's like, okay,
Yeah.
since you guys feel that way, well, here it is. And when she did it, they were like, no, you don't look good. You this, you that. And I'm like, what do y'all want though?
There's the hypocrisy of it all.
Oh, there's the Black Hypocrisy, which is the number one song on the mixtape.
Yep.
She's like, you guys are telling me if I'm lighter, I'll make it and I'll look better. But now that I am lighter, you guys are criticizing me. The same ones
Mm.
that said if I'm lighter, I'll be much more successful are the same ones that telling me that I don't look good lighter, that I'm making a mistake. Like what? Like, anyways, but this is a deep story.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's that. So it's, for me, it's Queen from Nicki Minaj, um,
Talk that talk.
captured by Spice, and Talk
Talk.
That Talk from Rihanna. Yeah.
Before I talk about my last album,
What you want to
um,
say?
family, if you're listening, please don't bring this up in person. I'm gonna get shy. I'm gonna get shy. I'm gonna get shy and embarrassed, and I'm gonna want to run away. So like, don't bring this up in person. Just listen to what I'm saying, okay? Also, don't make fun of my pronunciation.
Uh,
So anyway, my third album is Mininu Di Oru by Djodje.
okay,
It's also
nice.
his fifth studio album.
Oh, okay.
It was released November of 2021, so
Hmm.
it's still very fresh, very new.
Fresh, yeah.
It has 15 tracks.
Wow.
Actually, wait, pause. I forgot to say who he is. So Judge is a Cape Verdean musician. He's
Yeah.
been in the music things for a very long time, and he is very well loved in the Lusophone community, as well as now getting very big
Yeah,
internationally, which is
indeed.
fucking dope to see.
Which is just crazy. Yeah, it's so
Yeah,
crazy.
and
Because I remember
he
the, not to cut you off,
yeah,
I
no,
remember
go.
the other day that I was scrolling on TikTok and I'm like, is this his song going viral on
Yeah,
TikTok? Like they were doing like bunch of dances to it and shit. And I was like, that is so cool. Like it's crazy. Like I love to see
yeah.
artists like you know, like be successful, like get the
Mm-hmm.
recognition that they deserve, and you know, and like move up the ladder. Like that is so cool. Yeah. But anyway, continue.
Yeah. So he is super well known for like his Afropop um Afropop genre and music. But in this album, which is one of the reasons why I really enjoyed it, he brought in a lot of elements of like traditional Cape Verdean genre. There's so many like things that just made it so like juicy.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
For lack of a better word to describe it. I really don't know how else to like,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Um and a cool thing behind this album is that um it's really a celebration of all
Mm.
the love that he's gotten from the Cape Verdean community, the Lusophone
Okay.
community, his family
Yeah.
and his friends throughout his
Yeah.
career, because it kind of it marks his 20th year in the music industry. 20 years is a long
Mm.
time to be making music.
No,
So he's been doing this
definitely.
since he was a kid.
Yeah,
Um
definitely.
and like he considers it a collaborative effort because
Mm.
of how many people are featured, and the fact that to produce like a lot of the songs in the album, they actually did a writing camp.
Mm.
So they went to Cape Verde for 10 days, him and like a bunch of other musicians, and they just made music for 10 days.
Wow.
He said that around 60 to 80% of the album was a result of that.
Wow.
So I just think it's cool. And also because you can hear that every feature serves a purpose. Like, you know, sometimes when you listen to a song and you're like, this feature was entirely unnecessary and like
Mm.
brought nothing.
Yeah.
That is not the case here.
Yes, many
These,
songs I know like
yeah,
that, but yeah.
exactly. That is not the case here. These
Mm.
features serve a purpose and they serve
Mm.
it well. Sometimes you're listening to an album and then you're like, skip this song.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Not on
No.
this album.
Wow.
Not on this album. All 15 songs I will listen to
Mm-hmm.
through and through. Zero skips. Again, I said the features, they're excellent. They're great features.
Yeah.
And you can really feel and hear the intention of the album. So,
Mm.
he's telling his story of
Right.
his experiences doing music for 20 years, everything, everything he's faced, from the love to the hate, um, to the success that he's now seeing.
Seeing, yeah.
And you can also hear that this album came from somebody who is so deeply passionate about music that it reflects. And that's also what I really like about BTS.
Yeah.
Like, it always reflects in their music how passionate they are about what they do. I feel like there's a lot of sincerity here,
Okay, great.
and it's genuine in the
Yeah,
sentiments
yeah.
that are being shared. I went to the listening party
Mm.
with my mom and my brother.
Mm-hmm.
We all, our whole house,
Yeah.
we all went to the listening party, and it was interactive. So we got to hear the album before the album came out,
Came out.
and before the track list was decided. So it was interactive in the sense that he would play a song, and then there was a website that we were all on our smartphones.
Oh, so you
And we had to
vote.
say, from, I think it was 1 to 10, 1 to 10, like how much we
Yeah.
wanted the song in the album.
Oh,
I was
okay.
entirely useless.
Yeah.
I said 10, so I
Yeah.
was useless in that front, but it was an honest 10. I wasn't just saying 10
Yeah.
to say
Yeah.
10. It was
No, I get
genuine.
you. I get you.
And a great performer as well. I remember
Yeah.
we went to
I
see him in the
remember. I was
Netherlands.
just about to say we went to see him in the Netherlands. It was such a cool performance.
Yeah, it's vibes.
I'm like, it sounds so
It's
good.
fun. It's
He's
lot
a
of-
great performer as well. Like,
is.
really.
If anyone listening is unfamiliar with Djodje and his music, go scope the things. There's
Sure.
there's 5 whole albums to look
Yeah.
through. There's
Yeah.
5 whole albums to look through and enjoy. But yeah, those were my 3 albums: Trench by 21 Pilots, B by BTS, and Mininu Di Oru by Djodje.
Nice.
Yeah, man, that was fun. I
Yeah,
enjoyed this.
yeah. That was fun.
I love talking about our favorite music.
Yes, I mean we should do like more like favorite songs of the week or something like that. I like those as well because
Yeah, but
it
we
tells
do
you
those
like,
every Monday. We do those every Monday, so that's
oh yeah,
yeah,
I forget.
that's fun. That's
Yeah.
fun. That's fun.
So guys, that was this episode. If you are watching on YouTube, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if you are listening on Spotify, don't forget to rate our podcast and follow us. And don't forget to follow us on social media. You can follow Kiki at
Kiana Carrera on
and
Instagram.
yes, and you can follow me on Instagram at Chardonnay Official, and you can follow our podcast Instagram account at Don't Touch My Music Pod, and follow us on TikTok. Same thing at Don't Touch My Music Pod. You'll be able to see like little snippets and like little things that didn't get to make it into the podcast and some bloopers. So yeah, check us out. Okay. All right. See you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.